Hello, all you Topaz Storytelling Club viewers out there. This is your host, Caitlin, to bring you Week 7's highlights from the 7th day of August, 2019. The summer is moving by faster and faster every day. We saw an increase in membership from last week, so now with 6 young storytellers, we can begin the fun. Today's story is sort of similar to the one we did in last week's meeting, which, if you recall, was all about fairy tales. This story has a very similar feel to a Grimm story, almost to the point that I consider it a modern fairy tale. Written in 1977, today's story comes from a book called The Town Cats and Other Tales by Lloyd Alexander. Fun fact, Lloyd Alexander is one of my favorite authors. He wrote the awesome Chronicles of Prydain series also, which has its own Disney movie adaptation, The Black Cauldron. The Town Cats and Other Tales is a collection of short stories all about the adventures of cats and their owners. The individual story I read is called The Cat King's Daughter. In essence, the angry king makes a lot of ludicrous, arbitrary rules such as banning cats, but one cat is able to reverse the rules and make him see the error of his ways by helping the princess and her true love get approval to be married. I chose this story because of this king character, named King Hugo to be precise. From the summary I just gave, it sounds like he became a completely different person between the start and end of the story, right? That's exactly true, and it's a great example of our TSC writing concept for today, character change. So, let's take a look at King Hugo. What is he at first? Well, he starts out as what you might expect. He fills the role of the antagonist with all of his rules. Being a king who is used to getting his way, it makes sense that his power has gone to his head. But by the end, we see that he's not nearly so bad as he seems anymore. He admits his mistakes and tries to do better moving forward, for the good of the kingdom. He's the one who's changed the most as a character. The kids took note of this during the discussion, saying that they liked Hugo more at the end than at the beginning. As he changed, so too did their feelings for him change. We all influence each other, and even fictional characters can too. They said it's uninteresting to read about someone that stays the same the whole time. It'd be like ending the book the exact same way you started it, with nothing in between. So, character change. It sounds simple enough, but what is it, and what does it mean? Character change is crucial to a story, even if it is subtle. It doesn't have to be a complete 180-degree turn, like in King Hugo's case. Following the path that a character's personality, goals, fears, strengths, everything, shows us over time what that character learns, values, and becomes. A character arc, thus, which is what we'd call the overall makeup of the character throughout the story, should not be static. The character must in some way substantiate his experience of the story's plot points so as to make the story worth reading. What the character learns, he teaches the audience. In a protagonist, this is most important, but even side characters, if they have designated roles in the story, can have their own arcs. And what is real change? What counts as important enough? It largely depends on the type of story you're trying to tell, of course, since the changes in question should reflect the themes of the story. For example, who hasn't heard a story of a character in school being bullied, only for the bully to end up becoming a nicer person in the end, to reinforce a message of kindness? That would be a considerable change in personality, which carries far more weight to it than something superficial, like changing your favorite flavor of ice cream from vanilla to strawberry. Character changes should also be internal shifts in attitude, beliefs, or actions, rather than an external change in surroundings. Change may be helped along by friends or other forces, but it should be either an intentional choice or gradual series of small changes decided by the character, rather than something forced upon him beyond his control. These uncontrollable events are often propellants of change, like how a plane crash would force a survivor to adapt mentally and physically to the new surroundings. Going off of this, think of the classic story Lord of the Flies, where the boys were unwillingly trapped on the island, but because of that accident slowly devolved into chaotic savages due to their own shortcomings getting the better of them. In other words, change comes from within, but it can be helped along by any number of factors. Ask your child about what things can prompt a character change. Can he name any examples of characters who have undergone major changes as the main focus of the story? Can a character change all on his own, or is it necessary to receive help? Our activity today further explored the idea of change, albeit at the surface level. To start out with your child, you can explain changes using opposites, but of course, change is so much more complicated than that. Sometimes we change in the ways we don't expect, or fail to change the things we wanted to change. Sometimes the changes are only to conform to someone else's expectations, and it then becomes our task to seek what we truly want to be. Sometimes we change without hardly noticing at all, or take drastic turns that alter the course of our entire lives, for better or for worse. But since we decided to keep it simple with opposites, the idea of the activity was for each TSC member to receive a set of opposing traits, like poor to rich or lazy to hardworking, and illustrate the before and after. Not to mention, they also had to come up with a reasonable event to explain what prompted the change. My example was to show a shy girl, drawn with a sad face and closed-off posture, becoming a sociable, energetic girl surrounded by friends because she attended a party and met new people. Simple, but effective. The results were great, and you can find them all on my website. When it came time to do some writing, our word of the day was metamorphosis, a big transformation, and our writing prompt was to write about a character who gets changed into something else. If you want to try writing a story like this at home, your child could write about becoming a cool animal or a superhero, anything he puts his mind to. The surveys went over well, and all in all, today was a great day. The kids understood the concept without a hitch, and I got to sneak in a little tribute to one of my favorite authors. I would really love to have met Lloyd Alexander, but at the very least, he left behind a wonderful body of work that changed my life. This episode of the TSC Chronicles is dedicated to him. Goodbye until next time, friends.